Welcome to this week's Tech Show, where we're joined by a legend on the tools. We've got new metal bikes from, well, lots of brands, including Ritchie and the Athertons. We've got new carbon bikes from YT and Pivot, and much, 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 much more. Stay tuned. We're blessed with the presence of Calvin Jones from Parktool, a legend in his own right, a legend of the tools and a legend in print. He's literally written the book on how to fix bikes. So, yeah, thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thanks. It's great to be here. We're bringing the blue to Bath.
Ah, very good.
Yeah.
We like that.
In the country for a bit, for a trade show, so thought we would pop over.
Well, thank you very much. It's very pleasant of you to grace us with your presence. And yeah, I guess I want to chat. Your job title is Director of Education. And as a sort of fellow mechanic who's worked a little bit on bikes in workshops and then at races, how do you go from the wonderful kind of world of working in bike shops to then this wonderful title of Director of Education and becoming an author as well? I know it's like hard to condense potentially, but should we try?
We'll try. Well, it's difficult to look back on your life and see or maybe not your path, but when you're living it, you don't know where it's going to take you. I guess that's part of it.
Yep.
But yeah, when I was brought in the 28 wonderful years ago at Parktool, that was the direction and the intent of Eric Hawkins and the company that I would help guide us in that kind of direction. So. Where I came from, teaching at a mechanics institute, doing seminars and clinics, that was kind of a natural fit. So developing, back then, website articles. It was this crazy thing was just getting going then. The World Wide Web was catching on, and
I'm not sure it will fully catch on, but there's fans out there.
So. Anyway, doing a lot of writing and website articles, and then of course the world decided we don't like to read so much. Now we want videos, so we started doing videos. Did some of my own camera work first, and then that grew and grew. But the education part is important to Parktool because we do want you to buy our tools. Okay, we're going to lay this on the line. We want you to buy a Parktool. Then we want you to know what to do with it and how to use it and all the different uses you can do with it. So that's where we come in. So we try and do things that are useful to a lot of different people and make it very, very, I don't know, the word legitimate or very proper information, right? I know we can take a chain tool, and if the nail's sticking up here on the bench, I can take my chain tool and I can hit it, and yes, it's going to drive that nail down. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. But if there's another way, then we have a hammer, which we do make. Yeah. Maybe we'll use that instead. So kind of an extreme example, but we do want to show you how things are done and how you can do it both in the shop for the professional. Of course, and then if you're doing some work at home as well. So.
And for me, like, I know, having been one of those people that's looking on the Parktool website and reading your, I guess, blog, was that the right term? We'll say blog.
It was a blog.
Just about you visiting lots of races. And I guess lots of people will know your YouTube stuff, will know you from, well, hopefully from us as well in terms of using your tools, making kind of like reference to you a lot, but potentially they won't know that you worked at lots and lots of races.
Right, yeah, the race work is real important, and I still love it. Was just up in Manchester at a trade show, and the juniors were rolling around the track, and I couldn't help just gives you a neck ache to be at those velodromes, doesn't it? But point is, the racing's fun, and this is why I recommend it. You do have to work on a lot of different bikes. That's one thing. And you also have to remember you work on a lot of different pieces, like that old James Herriott story, that it's the animals that are not the problem. It's the people. Yeah. Right? So Owen is he's my rider. He's my downhill rider. And he's Mr. Finicky. So we have to work on his bike, but then we have to convince him, yes, this thing is meticulous, right? And yes, we did take a toothbrush, and we did brush each roller as far as he knows. We didn't really do that, but okay, right? And then somebody else, the other Owen comes in, is just a bull. And is that thing tight and strong? Yeah, okay. So it's the people you have to understand. Tie this back to education. You have to be able to explain and also hear from him, these are his problems, and then be able to ask questions. Well, you're saying it's making a bippity bop. Is it a bippity bippity bop or just a bip?
Yeah.
Oh, because the symptoms, we have to solve them both mentally and actually on the bike, right? Bippity bop, what do we have? Suspension creaking, something loose, chain, there could be lots of things.
Yeah.
Sometimes, secret here.
Oh, yeah.
We're between us.
Okay, right.
Between all of us here. Sometimes a bike will come in. It's just absolute. This is Owen the finicky comes in. You do have to do things, put wrenches on it. Yep, we found something. It's great. You have a great race. He leaves and, there's nothing wrong with that bike. He wins.
I've never heard or chatted about that with any other mechanics ever before.
Well, but it's still important
to
give that confidence.
Agreed.
And you better be right. And you can be wrong. And being wrong as a mechanic, that's a real interesting learning from your mistakes. Also then applying that to teaching. When you teach someone, which we're talking here. You and I back and forth exchange of ideas. Are we exchanging ideas? There'll be comments, okay, but that's the tough thing. I really do prefer a live audience, seminar, and a person sitting there and then, I need to liven up my talk. Or someone says, what is he talking? You can just see it in their eyes.
Yeah.
So that person to person I'm glad I had that experience with the different seminars, the race mechanics clinics that I taught, in-person training at the Mechanics Institute, being able to have that. It's good to bring that to the video, to bring that type of thinking, but I do miss, right, everyone out there, we're not live and I can't look into your eyes. Is this clicking for you? Or?
I think I agree with you. It's I don't have anywhere near the experience that you've got, but I've been at races and been a race mechanic and worked in bike shops and then done sort of neutral service randomly at triathlon races. But that's super fun because you're right. It's the kind of relationship between you, the bike, and the person, and developing that. Right. And there is this wonderful kind of like feedback loop when it all kind of clicks that. There's that level of trust and that relationship that grows. And to be fair to the internet, with comments, we're getting close to it in terms of it's not live, but we can do lots of interaction. And I love that.
Right.
But yeah.
But no, I totally agree.
It's not the same.
And here's, another secret. There's between us and we actually read the comments.
Yeah, we do,
So it's an important part of our job. Sometimes, sure, we missed something.
Yeah,
right?
Agreed.
And sometimes, this is the limitation of the internet, I'll say. Watch the video 100 times. You're going to see the same thing 100 times.
Yeah.
And sometimes a good instructor will teach you if you don't understand it, what you're going to have to do. I'm going to rephrase it. Let me rephrase it. And then okay, now I get it. I can't do that with the YouTube. In the comments, if you comment to me, okay, that's fair, that's true, that's better. But so what we're saying to the world is, come on in.
Yeah, basically, exactly, yeah. Okay, so we've kind of talked a little bit about your race past. We've talked a little bit about where we are now and where you are now in terms of still being the educator, still being the source. There's so much in terms of learning about being a better mechanic, whether you're being, a World Cup race mechanic or you're just sort of like taking that first step of fixing your own bike. Where do you see this development growing? And I guess it's a broad and open topic, but having been just at sort of like a show, do you see the kind of like any trends that stand out to you where you can see that, hang on, there's either a knowledge gap or there's a tool gap here. What sort of trends can you predict as a soothsayer of the future?
The tool gap is that's always growing, and that's what's nice about that feedback loop. We're seeing problems. Dropper posts are now, been a rage for a while, and they're growing, and a lot of use there. I just put a dropper recently on my fat bike.
Nice.
Short reason, I can get it in my car.
Oh, great! Yeah, yeah.
Or, right, you're not as flexible as you used to be. You come to that stoplight and you stop, drop that elevator down.
Yep.
Just sit on the ground. Yep, green light. Okay, elevator going up. So the point is, it's good to keep your finger on the pulse and keep fresh, right?
Yeah.
So part of my job has been also to teach the teachers, and we're seeing much more of that. Sometimes in the nonprofit area, we're seeing charities, bike kitchens are often, and then also shops and professional organizations, SciTech and such, doing more and more teaching. That's why we developed what we call the Park Tool School.
Okay.
Yeah, the Park Tool School, it's a curriculum. This is the instructor's guide. It's based on the BBB4, our repair manual.
Yeah.
But this one's much thicker, right? Oh, it's bigger pages.
Yeah.
And people, I want the instructor's manual because I know the answers in there, all the secrets in there.
Yeah, that's why I got it out today.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you the secret here. This is how to teach it. This tells you to remember to let them go take a pee. What this has to do is teach the shop to be a teacher.
Okay,
and that's not a small thing. Some shops want to offer the Park Tool School to develop relationships with their customers. We love that.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic idea.
Classic mistake you'll make from a shop is to put your best mechanic as the teacher, because not uncommonly, they're your worst people person.
Yeah.
They got to be the best mechanic because they don't deal with the people.
Yes.
And again, that's what you're doing. So this is how to set the school up, how to think like a teacher. There's notes in the side. There's the same information as the book, but then there's notes to the side on how to teach that subject, how to approach it. Remember to give them breaks, right? Remember to stop, get the class together, take your questions. Now we're going to do step 2, right? See what the big monkey does. Then us little monkeys, we go do the thing. Then we come back and watch the big monkey.
Okay, yep.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Very good.
So that's the basic rule of thumb. So.
No, but I think it is a thing of it's so important to kind of learn how to learn in one aspect.
Learn how to learn.
But also, my parents are both teachers, and I think I got very lucky in the fact that, my brain is definitely differently wired,
Mm-hmm.
and they were very, very good of kind of going, cool, try something like this. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Try something like this, and all those different, I think it's pedagogical different terms of how to learn, and that is, you've kind of nailed it in the fact that there are so many amazing bike mechanics, and I feel really lucky that I've worked with quite a few amazing mechanics. But only a very small handful of those are really good at then going, I'm doing this because of this and this.
I'm a big fan of multiple intelligences. And you're smart, a musician, right? Cannot tie, the musicians often wear slip-on shoes. They can't tie their shoes.
Oh.
Well, they don't have that intelligence.
Okay, yep.
But, or an athlete. People make, big log, he's just, doesn't know anything. But that is an intelligence, to know the ballet dancer, where to put your body, when to put it there, to be, Wout, Van Aert. And this is the line I want. This is the angle and the experience and the repetition. That's a type of intelligence. A naturalist, right? You're hunting the mushroom. This one is delicious with some garlic, but this one kills you.
Yep.
Okay, and a bike mechanic is the same. So approaching people and respecting them, that's a different way for them to learn, which is why the instructor. So you're asking me, one of the trends, I think, is education.
Okay.
Because you take people in, are you going to turn them into a lifetime professional? That's maybe not what they want, even at a bike shop.
Yeah.
So that you have to take people where they are, find out where they want to go, and try and guide them on their path. But kind of a big circle there. But let's go back to one thing you talked about knowing why, and that's one other. If you could all join me next time in the shop world, we'll talk about the how things work, versus what to do. And a good example on our website, we have 2 videos that first they look equal. How to adjust your derailleur. And then there's how it works. I would rather we look at how it works first.
Yep.
Right? Then you plan your own repair adventure, right? So it's not this route learning. You must tighten this 1/4 turn, then you turn to the right, to the left. It's I see this is what this is doing. Right? Like you're cooking. What does heat do? You know, what does fat do? You understand the concepts. I know the end point. I know how to get there. Right? Yeah. So, and if people will talking about video comments, they'll be frustrated. I did exactly what your video said, and it's still not working. And okay, then you're in a loop.
Yeah.
Bust out. Learn how it works. Click. Yeah. Then you move on. That's part of life.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great a great endpoint to a degree is trying to understand stuff. And for me, bikes, hopefully for you as well, and hopefully for lots of you out there as well, bikes are such a fantastic medium for learning. I was watching one of your videos just over the weekend, just about how coldness can or doesn't affect, I won't reveal the secret, on kind of derailleur hangers, on mech hangers.
Yeah.
And how, we're talking about metallurgy, we're talking about how temperature can affect grain structure, we're talking about all these wonderful things. And okay, there's just one level where you go, is it bent, is it not? Well, we can do that quickly. But then there's this wonderful, deeper world, which we can dive into on, almost everything on a bike. And it's just amazing. So, yeah, thank you very much for broadening my horizons and hopefully broadening other people's horizons about how deep you can get into bikes, but also just thinking of no, we can fix it in a holistic way as well. So thank you so much.
Well, it's a great big nerd world, and nerd out with bikes. That's what we do.
Indeed. Thank you. We got a sneak peek last month about the latest addition to the Atherton's lineup, which is the Atherton's S200. It's already being raced at one of the world's hardest DH races, with G riding it at the Hardline event in Tasmania. S is for subtractive, so it uses an all-aluminium construction, but it's very different compared to, similar material bikes are made. It uses big, intricately machined lugs and then a special, unique process of bonding those tubes into the lugs. It's impressive tech, and the Atherton say it offers some real advantages, allowing them to use 700C tubes, which are meant to be stronger, and they can keep a really close eye on the manufacturing because it's done in North Wales in their HQ. It also gives them an impressive range of sizes with 12 different sizes, with 3 different rear centre measurements. There's a lot. It uses Dave Weagle's DW4 linkage, so not the DW6 that they use on their additive bikes. But full builds come from $4,999. You can pre-order on the website right now. Arguably the first name in mountain bikes, or at least one of the first, Ritchey have released a new version of their iconic P29 frame. Put simply, the P29 is a steel 29er hardtail, but with Tom's 50 years of experience and huge depths of knowledge all channeled into it, well, there's a lot going on. Since his early days with the welding torch, he was already innovating, and this bike is packed with lots of lovely little details. From the off, Tom helped drive forward innovation and develop new steel tubing, often with unique butting forms. Butting is a term for where the sidewall profile, changes on the length of the tube. So in the centre, it can be really skinny, and on the ends, it's thicker. This helps with welding, and it also helps with ride quality too. With a P29, we've got a triple-butted Logic steel frame, so that's Ritchey's proprietary tubing. It's also got a lightweight forged and machine taper head tube. It's all designed around a 100mm fork, and Ritchey say it's designed for ripping, tight, twisty, technical, cross-country single track. It's their latest manifestation of Ritchey's deep heritage. So the geometry is rather sort of mellow than wild, but Ritchey have got the hardcore ultra hardtail for the long travel rowdy riding set. It's available in 4 sizes. They're one by only, but you can set up with either flat bars or drop bars, which is kind of interesting. You can put a up to 2.3-inch tyre in the back. It's boost spacing, but runs a 27.2 seat tube with stealth routing, so you can run a dropper. It's not compatible with T-Type rear mechs though, so that's interesting. It's available in a dirt in blood deep red, which I love, and frames come in at £870, including VAT. The 429 is dead. Yep, Pivot's short travel 29er, sort of trail bike, racy, XCS bike, is no more. that's it. They've killed it off. But like a phoenix from the flames or from the ashes, the Trailcat is alive. The Trailcat is Pivot's all-new short travel bike, and it's available in two different versions: the SL with 120mm travel and a 140 fork, or the LT with 135mm of rear travel and a 150 fork. Effectively, we've got one frame, so you could kind of do it yourself, but effectively it's a different linkage and a different stroke shock. So you could do it, but you'd have to invest in a new shock and other linkage bits. Both bikes run on Dave Weagle's DW4 linkage. They've got flip chips at the top of the seat stay to alter geometry. Both of them have got a hollow core carbon frame. They've got Pivot's in-frame storage, which they've dubbed Tool Shed. Dual cable port design, so it's internal but through the down tube. They've got large water bottle clearance on all sizes, twin bolt tool on the top tube and on the down tube as well. And tyre clearance is up to 2.6 in 29. It's also compatible with MX wheel size and UDH. Slightly different geometry on the two bikes. The SL has 65.8 to 66.3 head angle and 76 to 76.4 seat tube angle, whereas the LT is 65.3 to 65.6 on the head angle and 75.6 to 76 on the seat tube angle. Both have Super Boost 157 rear spacing, so that's something that is a bit different. 5 sizes. Pivot says you can fit people from 4'10" to 6'5". You've got a lifetime warranty, lots of different spec options. I counted 14 for each model, all with Fox suspension, but with a mix of SRAM and Shimano on the builds. Pricing starts, well, roughly at $6,199 for a Fox Performance suspension setup and SLX and XT mix group set. So that's the one level. At the other end, you've got $13,299 for a Team XX Eagle transmission with Fox Neo, aka Live Valve. That is for a non-e-bike. That is big money, but interesting bikes. YT have revamped their all-mountain, aka long travel trail bike, their Jeffsy, with a new core range. All of the models are using their 4-bar horse-link rear end and offering up 145mm of rear travel, and it's often matched with a 150mm fork, but they're approved to go up to 160. There's size-specific rear centres, so 2 different chainstay lengths, one for the small to the large, and then a longer version for the XL and XXL. The head angle is the same on all the bikes, so 65 degrees, with an effective seat angle of 77 degrees on all 5 sizes. But there is a flip chip, so you can slacken the head angle by half a degree. Prices start for the range with a Core 1 aluminium, and in UK pounds, US dollars, or in euros, it's all the same price, which is $2,799. That gets you Mazzocchi suspension and a Dior drivetrain with SRAM DB8 brakes. Pricing goes through a wonderful range from 349 to then 449, and the range tops out with a Core 4 CF, so that's a carbon fibre front triangle. We've got UK pounds, US dollars or euros for 5,999, so pretty much £6,000. You've got Fox factory suspension, you've got EXO type T-type transmission and Hayes Dominion brakes. It's a lot of money, but it's a lot of bike. Interesting stuff. Mason have got a new Roar. The Roar was Mason's first hardtail model, built from Deda-Ace 0 and 0 Uno and Reynolds steel tubing. For 2025, it's now UDH compatible and in a new colour, Accursed Ochre. Mason say it's adventure ready, so it's built around 120mm fork with a 66-degree head angle and clearance for 29 by 2.6 tyres, with a 34 chainring. So it's nice. BSA threaded bottom bracket, SRAM builds start from £5,100 or Shimano builds start from £4,300 or frame only is £1,800. Adidas 510 Freerider Pro BOA flat pedal shoe. Okay, exceedingly long name. But the shoe is, well, essentially Adidas's, which is 510's Freerider Pro version with a BOA. So the update is actually quite simple. So we've got an Li2 dial to tension the shoes up rather than laces. And as well as offering the kind of easy on-the-fly adjustment that BOA gives you, lack of laces, for example, it also means that, well, there's no laces on there, so it makes it a little bit more breathable. So there's 2 colours. There's white with a gum/tan sole, and then there's black with a black sole. Pricing from £150. German Breakmeisters Trick Stuff have a limited edition blue version of their much mimicked Teutonic stopper, the Directissima. Yes, only 160 being officially produced. It's a 4-piston brake with a progressive mechanism. It's fully anodised and CNC'd. It's in this wonderful blue colour. It's got Kevlar brake lines, which have got a maximum of 630 30 bar of pressure resistance, which is wild, stainless steel pistons, polymer pump piston for reduced friction, a weight of 520 grams, all of which you probably don't care about. Oh, no rotor. Price per end, €1,100. I know, I had to double check. It's spendy. Okay, here's some stuff that we've seen online. Well, we've got a promo, a bundle, aka, on the GMBN shop where you can get the long sleeve jersey and riding trousers and you can save some cash, which is great. We did see this really funky hardtail, and at first I was like, ooh, cool. Got a super tight rear end, lots of fun there, potentially. Really long front end, interesting. And then I saw the bar stem. Almost looks reversed, but there's a huge amount of attention to detail, so hats off to Peter Verdun. Great work on this custom bike. Sysip Bikes, another custom builder. They've got some beautiful bikes, but this one caught my eye. Basically, they're renewing an older hardtail e-bike and making it into a full suspension e-bike. Lots of exquisite detail on this one, including a Chris King, I think bottom bracket is the main pivot. And finally, Norco. You might have seen these at Hardline. They did 2 custom paint jobs for their riders at Hardline in Tasmania. One of them ended up winning, so well done, Gracie. Good work. Okay, quiz time. This is my favourite bit. Last week, I asked you about Catherine Pendrell, the Canadian cross-country legend. Essentially, I was asking you about her bike because, well, she raced on an Alma and she raced on an Oise and she got lots of wins. And I asked you guys what team she was on. And there was me thinking that the Twin Peaks question would get lots of you stumped, but no, the Catherine Pendrell one did. She raced on the Lunachicks off-road team, which then morphed into the Cliff Bar team. So how many of you got it right? Only 3 of you. So well done to you, Clarence and Sepster and Tim. Obviously, Tim got it right as well. So well done. Mini backstory is that Gary Erickson, who is the founder of Cliff Bar, he had a daughter and he was kind of like, who is she going to look up to and admire and be kind of an idol? So he invented the Lunachicks team, which I think is genius. So thanks very much, Gary, for setting up I think it was the UCI's winningest team across all platforms. So well done. Maybe it was just off-road. Correct me in the comments where you're wrong. Okay, question time for this week. We talked about the Trail Cat, which is Pivot's new bike, but can you name the cool cat behind Pivot? Answers in the comments below, please. Okay, time for a hashtag AskGMBN Tech. We've got a great question here from Alco Samwell. I'm probably butchering your name, so I do apologise. Question's up on screen. It's all about chains and whether we should, well, how long a chain can last and should we run 2 or 3 different chains? It's a great question and effectively chain wear is very tricky. I'll try and keep it really to the point because we've got lots of factors affecting a chain. It is also a wear item, so chains do wear out and we just have to be mindful of that. So the factors that are going to affect how quickly you wear a chain and thus how you can impact on your drivetrain is how clean you keep it and how well lubed you keep it, what conditions you're riding and how much power you're putting down. There is an additional factor of, well, potentially on an e-bike you're going to put down more power, so that is a factor. And the other thing is your bike set up correctly, which is another longer question, but we can talk about chain line. Very briefly, this is the kind of centre line as you're looking at the back of the bike from the rear wheel to the front wheel and how that chain lies. If that chain line is not set up, you're going to be twisting that chain lots and lots and that can be bad. Right. Wear. We talk about chain wear, we often talk about chain stretch. It's not exactly what's happening. What's happening is we're wearing the little rollers that sit in between those links and they can wear quite quickly. If you get the right sort of grit on them and the wrong sort of lube, well, you can make a grinding paste that wears those rollers out on the outside and on the inside. And as that distance between those 2 rollers change, that means that your chain ring is going to wear and your cassette is going to wear. So how do you solve this problem? Well, keeping on top of cleaning your chain and making sure that you clean it as often as you can and keeping all the grime off, using a good lube. Some of the wax-based ones are very good at staying cleaner. I found they're a little bit trickier in kind of wet conditions, but there's lots of options out there. So keeping it clean is a core thing for me. And monitoring how worn it gets, and you'll have to monitor it lots. Back to the question of about the 3 chains. Yes, I've seen people do this. I've heard lots of roadies do this before. Effectively, you've got 1 chain on the bike, one that you're cleaning So like degreasing and potentially re-lubing, you can do that separately, and then one that's all set up and ready to go back on, and you keep them all in rotation. And it sounds like a great idea that you're kind of cleaning and lubing and then you've got the new one on. And I think on a road bike, in the right conditions, it can work really well, because the amount of wear that each of those three chains will have potentially will be a little bit less than you have on a mountain bike. So you're going to match that kind of wear limit on those rollers all the way through. Problems happen on a mountain bike is if you switch your chain for one that's slightly less worn, well, the chain rings that are now worn will wear out those rollers to match. So everything kind of has to fit together. And if you start switching out just the chain, there is a small window where it works, but it is really small. So my advice is just keep your chain really clean, lube it properly, double check that the chain line is correct. And unfortunately, you're gonna just have to switch that chain out more often than you imagine. Hope that helps. Use the hashtag #AskGMBNTech if you've got any, well, tech conundrums. We can help. Okay, comments time. This is, after the quiz, the most exciting part of the show. Why? Because I'm getting to interact with you, and you're entering the debate, you're in the chat, and that really helps because, well, I'm there chatting too, and it's great to get all your feedback and comments. So last week we were talking about, is the hardtail dead? And yeah, the resounding result was like, no, it's not. So we asked you, do you still reach for your trusty hardtail? And lots of people, Graham Foot, bicycle lover, every ride. Nice to hear from you, Graham. We got Mahalo83, he loves his Laufey. Francis D, 9955, in the winter, the hardtail, rest of the time, full suspension. GS Norrie says, full suspension isn't for me. He's tried it, and they're too good. The trails disappear. That's an interesting one. That does feed onto what I was kind of talking about. On the right trail, hardtails can be fantastic. So yeah, he gets the appeal, but yeah, if speed is all about where you get your kicks, then they can work. But in general, lots of people like the hardtails, so that's really good. We also talked about the 9.8 pedal, whereby they'd sort of flip the design of the pedal, and opposed to the pedal having pins, they gave you a set of pins to put on your shoes. And this one is a great comment from Graham, again. Many moons ago, he worked on a farm after leaving school, and back then, hobnail boots were the things to have. So, yeah, these new pinned shoes remind him of that. And, yeah, from his experience, they are, well, fantastic in soft conditions underfoot, but, yeah, basically deadly on stone or concrete. So, yeah, these new pedals need to have a warning on them, in his views, for soft ground only. Otherwise, you're going to go A over T. Let me know in the comments what you think that means. Then I mispronounced Zelchi, which is the wild high pivot bike that we had, and it means from steel. This is my lack of Czech language skills. And there's similar wordplay, this is all from Commune KH, in their names, because Viziosko means high, not in a kind of stoner way though. So yeah, very good. If you've got comments about any of the things that we talk about on this week's show, well, join the comments, join the debate down below. What are we looking forward to this week? Well, we've got a video on why your front brake is on the left or on the right, whichever side, it might be the wrong side or the right side. And we've got Ride Like a Pro, the ultimate handlebar and stem setup guide. So how to set up your cockpit with lots of insights from some wonderful downhill races and XC races to get you in the perfect position. But yeah, again, if you've got comments about this week's show or any of the videos that we've got on the channel, well, just join the debate down below. I'll see you there.